So apparently there was a new interview or snippet from an interview with Kitase and a couple. I just glanced at it real quick, an excerpt. So shout out to Rayhan Khan on Twitter for sending me this, and I think it's again another one of those Taikimochi translation things. So I just kind of glanced at it on my phone. So I'm going to pull it up. We'll read through the transcription and see what it says. Apparently some people are talking about this. Alright, so it starts with Hamaguchi. I'll just read the whole thing here. Hamaguchi says, when creating Final Fantasy VII Remake, we decided to have the entire game take place in Midgar, and we created a realistic world within Midgar. For example, in the original game, you didn't really have a sense of what it would look like to gaze up at the plate from the viewpoint of the slums, which that was actually an amazing shot. That was one of the moments in the game early on where I was just like, oh my god. It was great. But in part 2, we want to take that type of detail and allow users to experience how they experienced Midgar in the remake, but with the rest of the world. Hino, the MC, that's the person doing the interview. Are you referring to the world outside of Midgar, right? Or you are referring to the world outside of Midgar, right? Hamaguchi says that's correct. Unfortunately, that's all I can reveal about part 2 right now. Kitase goes on to add, those who played the original game probably know what happens in the story and are curious as to what will happen now. However, because they know the story, this gives us the opportunity to deliver them something they expect that allows them to think, oh, so this is what actually happened. Yet also show them something that not only surprises, but also goes beyond their expectations. That's interesting. So if he's saying they know the story, this gives us the opportunity to deliver that something they expect them to think, oh, so this is what actually happened. Huh. So is he saying with that line that they're going to be creating multiple undertones to the things that did happen in the story? That could be a translation thing. I'm going to think right now that might be a translation thing, because if that's true, that would entail, to me, the way I interpret that is that would imply that they're going to keep a lot of plot points the same, but add a lot of subtle layers underneath of them, which is what we talked about, right? We've talked about that. I'll continue reading and we'll talk about this when it all finishes up. Because we have the original game already, shows us something beyond their expectations, okay. Because we have the original game already, if we can express these elements well, it can turn into something that users can definitely look forward to. We did this in part 1 too. Let's just say as well. We did this in part 1 as well. For those who played part 1, they already have an idea of what kind of game we are making. We want to create a game that lives up to their expectations, but also throws them off in a good way. Okay, we'll stop right there real quick. I'll just say, I feel like he's saying they are going to maintain the pivotal plot moments. Okay, so this should please everybody, right? And I think that's what he's trying to do in this interview. I think he's trying to, keep the audience who really enjoyed the game, like myself and a lot of you, hyped. And I think he's also trying to reassure the audience who weren't happy with some of the changes they made at the end of the game that a lot of it's going to stay intact. That's how I'm interpreting this, right? I feel like he's trying to play that in between, but I feel like, and I'm going to keep reading the rest of it, I'm just interjecting my thoughts as we go. I feel like they've done this before, right? I feel like they have tried to please, but they shouldn't do that. They should be strong and be like, this is the direction we're going. Please be excited, like they always do. I feel like what they've been doing, and I feel like why the fan base is so torn, is because when they do these interviews, it's like they're trying to please everybody in these interviews, and you're to a point now where that's not possible, right? People that hardcore had a problem with the first Final Fantasy VII Remake game, I think they don't trust them anymore, right? Those, like, I enjoyed it. You all know I love the game, and I think it's great, but there are those who had problems with it, and their problems are justified, right? I mean, they feel strongly about one way. what they're doing, these Square Enix people, what they're trying to do is they're trying to reassure everyone that the game they want is being made. And I don't think that's true, and I don't think they should keep doing that, right? Anyway, we'll continue reading. Hino, the MC, says, in Final Fantasy XIII, a lot of the map consisted of a set pathway, but during the latter half of the game, it opens up to a large field map. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that aspect, and I hope that something like that happens for Part 2. Everyone, look at this part here. Everyone laughs. I'm laughing too, Hino. That's what I hated about 13. That's what I hated about it. It didn't feel like Final Fantasy. Even 12 had huge, massive zones that you could go to that kind of were the world map. Final Fantasy 13, the first half of the game, is damn near on rails. It's damn near too linear to be a Final Fantasy game. It's almost like a platforming action game, you know? No, Hino. No, Hino. No. I'm glad Hino's not in the development room on this shit. Hamaguchi says, I'll take note of that. That's what I would have said too. I'll make a note of that. Hino says, right. Okay, right. I think Hino's like, I know I'm one of the few that like that. Okay, moving on. Hamaguchi says, I got a good laugh out of that. While I can't really say about the details in Part 2, while I can't really talk about that. Okay, so some of the translation, that's why I'm stumbling over some of the words. Some of the translation seems a little bit rocky in points, so I'm having to stop and make sure I read it right, and that's how it's translated. Okay, so while I can't really talk about the details in Part 2, there was an interesting change internally among the staff. When we were creating Part 1, most of the staff who wanted to join our team were fans of the original game. However, right now, the new staff who want to work on the game are those who played the remake and would like to be on board with Part 2 specifically. It's cool to see this new wave of... That's interesting. Because... They changed the staff from fans of the original Final Fantasy VII, and they changed it to fans of the remake game. That, unless it's a COVID thing, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because the fans of the first staff you had made remake. Like, they made remake. You know what I mean? I don't know. There might be something more to that. So this confirms that they're well into development. They've got their whole team working on it, so that's good. We already knew that though. Hino says, for those who like the original game, do they have any specific thoughts on development? Hamaguchi says, a word that pops into mind is action battle. They experienced a new type of action battle system and they want to contribute to the system too. That's a key word that comes to mind. Okay, so they don't need to touch the battle system, right? They don't, like, when you bring in Vincent and Yuffie and Red 13, they are going to handle what, well, Yuffie's not going to handle differently, right? She's going to be like a Tifa, right? Except she can throw shit, right? She's going to be like Tifa. She'll be more spry, but she's going to be like Tifa. Maybe a little more agile, and she can throw shit. That's the difference, right? Vincent is not like any character in the game. Red 13 is not like any character in the game. They will have to handle completely different, right? Vince is like a nocturnal experiment vampire kind of guy, and Red 13 is Red 13. Nanaki is going to handle totally different than everybody else. So, other than that, unless they're talking about making changes for those characters, they need to leave the action, the battle system alone. Hino says, so perhaps those staff's thoughts might help evolve the action battle system. Hamaguchi says they definitely contribute different ideas that allows us to hopefully create new surprises to the battle system as well. Alright, so that's some interesting stuff for sure. Like, all the stuff with you know, the open world, and that's the big point of contention with everybody right now. It's like, how's the open world going to work? I have been on record as saying, and I still am, if you give me huge zones like a Star Ocean, like which one was it? Till the End of Time. I love the way that the Tales games, I think, do it really well. But I think you still need a big world map to be able to traverse and get to those zones, right? And that kind of has an old school feel to it. I like that. I don't have a problem with that. If you're trying to create like a full world, like you're trying to do The Witcher or something like that, we're not getting that with this. I think people need to temper their expectations on that. Square doesn't do that. We are not getting a Witcher, a Elder Scrolls, Skyrim map. I don't think we're getting that. I think we're getting zones, and you'll be able to traverse. They will have a world map. They will map out the entire world so you can travel around with the high wind, with the tiny Bronco, even the submarine, and go these different places. But I don't have any expectation of seeing like a Witcher or like a Skyrim kind of map at all. If they do it, I hope they do. But they're talking about doing these smaller chunk type games. I don't think we're gonna get zones, and we're gonna get, as each game comes out, we're gonna be able to put the zones together on the map and travel around. But that is interesting that I kind of took from this. The battle system, leave the battle system alone. Leave the battle system alone and just focus on updating, tweaking things for the new characters that are coming in. Nanaki, Vincent, or Red 13. If you haven't played the original, no spoiler there. Red 13 and Vincent. Yuffie, I think she's gonna play like Tifa, a little bit quicker. She's gonna be a little bit more jumpy, and she can throw stuff. That's it. That's the only difference I think there'll be from her and Tifa. I also think that they need to, like I talked about when I was reading it, they need to stop trying to say we're going to please everybody. Because I think at this point, I don't think you can. I hope they can. I would love for the community to come together on this and just everybody have a good time playing it. That would be my expectation. Let's all have a good time playing it. Let's all have fun. Let's all have fun speculating. Everybody's got all these cool different theories and theory crafting, and like I do here, and people like Sleep Easy and Final Fantasy Peasant and people like that, they all have like all these other different theories, these crazy wild theories, and we're all different, and it's all cool. But there are some people that just don't like the direction this game is going, and that's fine too. But Square Enix has to stop saying we're going to please those people too, because when they say that, and then when this game comes out, and then if they don't please those people, then they've lost them. They've not only lost them for Final Fantasy VII, they might lose them for other Square Enix games coming out. All I want them to do is say, you saw the direction we're going with the remake story. And they do say this. They say it's a completely new thing. We're going to show you some different stuff, you know. And please just say, please be looking forward to it. Give us the please be excited. That's all you got to do. It's like, we got some cool stuff coming. It's going to be a great game. The characters you love are the same characters. You know, and we're taking the story and we're just embellishing on it. We're adding more flair to it. We want to give you more bang for your buck. You know, and the original story you can complete in 35 to 40 hours. It's one of the most perfect stories ever written. The original Final Fantasy VII is one of those perfect stories ever written. But they've added to it over the years. Some people really dig it. I do. Some people don't, and that's fine. That's cool. They don't like it for their reasons. Square Enix has to say, this is the direction we're going. Right at you. Just like that. Right at you. We're coming this way. That's the way we're going. And we want you on board. And we're making the best game we can. We love these characters. We love this story. Please know that we love what we're doing. And we understand how important it is to you. We won't disappoint you with this game. Stop saying, yeah, well, we did this, we're going this direction, but we're going to keep this stuff intact. Stop saying that, because you're not. It's cool. I'm cool with you not do what you want to do. It's your thing. I can go back and play Final Fantasy VII, the HD remaster. I can go back and play it. and I still go back and play it, have a great time with it. This is something different. Stop telling people that it's not going to be that different, because it's going to be vastly different. It's going to be vastly different. So anyway, that's all I got to say on that. Interesting. Ataki Mochi keeps killing it. Rehan Khan on Twitter, thank you so much, man, for the heads up on that. I've been working all night. As you all know, I'll work all night on the weekends. But thank you for sending me that. I appreciate it. So I do the video, get it out there for you all if y'all dug that. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Up there, you see at the corner of the video at Kaufman20XX. That's Twitter and Instagram. And you can like the video, subscribe to the channel if you dug that. I got more stuff coming all the time. I've got other projects I'm working on right now. I'm finishing up a comic book I haven't said anything about that I've been working on. Some of you on Patreon know what I'm working on. If you're on my Patreon, you've seen it. You've seen the first 9 to 10 pages of it. I'm working on getting that done. We're working on an animated series right now for Aurora. We're working on a bunch of stuff. I've been streaming on Twitch Monday through Thursday nights, doing that. And just a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. So I want to make sure I'm getting YouTube videos out daily when I can for you all. So if you all are into all that, thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate that. I'm also on Patreon if you want to check me out there. Just Ray Kaufman on Patreon. It's my mug. You can't miss it. So shout out to Marky Mark and John Dale for my newest Patreon subscribers this week. Thank you all so much. Rewards are coming. So you all have a great night. Keep rocking. Be safe out there. Be good to each other. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care.